Hey people, welcome to the Run Test. It's Kieran here, and in this video we're going to be looking at this. This is the Montane VP Gecko Plus Ultra Race Vest. So the Gecko VP Plus is one of Montane's most minimal race vests. It's designed for lightweight racing and training. It weighs just 180 grams. You get two front zippered pockets, two smaller front stretch mesh pockets, two open back stash pockets and one main compartment with a small internal pocket in there as well. There's a built-in safety whistle, and there's 2 or 3 ways to attach trekking poles. It's priced at £90 in the UK, and it comes with 2 500ml soft flasks included. So what we have here is your more kind of classic kind of minimal ultra race vest, super lightweight and kind of with just enough storage probably to carry you through like a day-long ultra with your main kind of obligatory kit essentials, or to use on those lighter runs. Maybe you're running a small errand where you don't have to carry very much, or you're going to go and do like a long Sunday marathon training run, 18 miles or more, and you just want somewhere to carry water and a bit of food and a jacket if it's going to rain. This vest fits the bill for that. Now, I've done a lot of running in this, and I'm kind of a fan of some of it. Some bits I'm not so sure about. I really like the fact that unlike some vests, you're kind of going to get a tiny little bit more weight in this, but there is a padded back here. It's not, it's not really thick, but actually there's a sort of breathable padded back, which is very different to kind of the Salomon, which tends to be sort of more minimal material only. I think that gives the vest just a little bit more structure as it sort of comes round under the shoulder straps and into the kind of the main sort of front section of the vest as well. I get a really kind of good lockdown fit from this. I really like kind of the fact that you've got kind of adjustable, height adjustable, and kind of tightness adjustable sort of chest and sternum straps. You can move those. I'm not, as I was with the Gecko VP20 Plus, I find the actual straps connections a little bit fiddly to hook on and unhook, particularly when I've got colder hands or gloves. They're just a little bit fiddly, but the fact that you can move them up and down and get that's good for a good lockdown fit. The other thing I will say is the bottle holders hold the bottles pretty firmly in place, though you do have to kind of sort of wedge them down and then use these toggles over the top of your soft flasks. You've got 2 soft flask holders up the top here. You can stick trekking poles. There's a slot down here, and then you can also use those toggles as well. So you could fit a trekking pole on either side. On the front, you've got 2 zippered pockets that have a bit of kind of stretch mesh as well. Those are okay. You can fit a fair amount in there. That's good for kind of your gels and a bit of fuel. You'd probably squeeze in maybe a pair of gloves in there, a head torch, about that kind of stuff. You've also got 2 sort of smaller pockets on the side here, which are also kind of stretch mesh at the bottom. That's on both sides. Those I've found kind of less useful. I didn't, I tried to put gloves in there and they sort of spilled out the top. They don't feel particularly secure. So I think you have to cram quite a lot of stuff in there, but because they're quite shallow, I don't know, it just feels like stuff. I wouldn't put anything in there that I want to be in there at the end of the run if I was running down something steep, put it that way. The other thing on the back, then you sort of flip it over and you've got one major main kind of compartment, which is kind of reasonable size. That'll take a reasonable size jacket, a few other bits and pieces. You're not going to fit a huge amount in there, if I'm honest. That's you can see my sort of hand expands to fit the space there. Again, this is kind of a small, kind of minimal, lightweight jacket. One touch I do like though is that you get this fastening clasp at the top, which means that top closes so things don't come out. Again, that's something very different to the kind of the Salomon vests that leave that back bit, tend to leave it sort of flapping open. And though you sort of cram stuff down and it's tight in there, always worry what might pop out, particularly if you've got kind of heavier items that might juggle up and down that you want to put in the back there. I guess the other thing I wanted to sort of note about this, when you're wearing it, one thing is I feel like the sort of side pockets and those back pockets are quite hard to reach. I'm not the most flexible. I haven't got great, I need to get up with that stick. But I find it quite hard to reach around and get things out of those pockets. So, and there's not a huge amount of space on the front to have lots of fuel. So I do find that might be a bit of a problem on longer races. I don't want to keep going into the back of the pack. I just want to be able to have stuff that's readily available at the front. That was somewhat kind of frustrating. Although you've got these kind of zippered front pockets that you can put things in, I still found them a little bit sort of tough to reach. And actually those zippered front pockets, the problem is that when you've got your soft flasks in, because those slide down the back, they sort of take up quite a lot of space when they're full, and it feels like the capacity of these is somewhat sort of, I don't know, squeezed or pushed under because of the soft flask being in place. So I just don't think it's got as much kind of front storage as maybe some of the vests that I've enjoyed. So that back storage is beefed up a little bit further with, you've got two extra pockets here on the back. Again, they're open pockets that they're not quite stretch mesh, they're a little bit more constructed. And you've got two of those, and again, that does beef up the storage. You can fit sort of plenty of things in there. That's also a good place. I reckon you could squeeze down a really lightweight shell jacket into that. Other things like that, it's kind of a couple of spare pairs of socks. Those kind of things would be good in those pockets. Again, for the weight of the vest though, I still don't really understand why people don't just put a little popper on here just to keep things nice and secure, and you're really sure. That would make it more likely then to stuff in things like a head torch or whatever in this pack as well. Maybe your kind of little safety kit or your safety blanket, those kind of things. Speaking of safety, in here you've also got your obligatory whistle. The great thing about that is that you don't have to carry a spare one. It's always there with you when you need it. Now, if you're thinking about this for like a day-long ultra, let's say like 100k or even 100 miles, if you're like me, I tend to carry quite a lot of fuel. I'm a bit of like an over-prepper. I probably carry too much weight actually. But that's one thing here, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to fit the volume in here. If you were carrying sort of, 7 hours worth of fuel rather than eating off aid stations, I feel like with a jacket and with the other race essentials, there might not be entirely the capacity that you need in the back here. So that's one consideration. If you're just fueling off aid stations and you're going to be grabbing things from a drop bag halfway and just want enough to eat in the moment, so you're picking up stuff and carrying with, then I think this will do a good job. I think basically for that it's a nice vest. I don't get much bounce on this. It sits nice around the kind of body because it's quite cut back. It's not in the way. It's nice to run in, and yeah, I think the bottles themselves, when they're in, they stay kind of nicely in place. It's not kind of flying and wiggling that you might get with some jackets. Some of the Salomons, I actually find that there's a bit too much movement on some of those kind of lighter weight Salomon vests. But yeah, all round, I think this is a very, very solid lightweight vest, and I would use it certainly for kind of shorter ultras, and definitely for those trail runs where I think ideal this is for where I'm going out for like 4 or 5 hours. I want to take just enough fuel and a jacket and a few other bits and pieces. Then the Montane Gecko VP Plus, I think, is a really, really good, well-built jacket. Solid jacket. Get this I think for going shorter. If you like to carry a lot of stuff on ultras, I think there might not quite be the capacity. Some of it's brilliant. There's a few touches which aren't quite right. I'd like to have a little bit more sort of front storage for moving fuel and stuff that I need to be easily accessible. But the ride of it, the fit, the hold, no bounce. I think bottles stay well put. And yeah, overall it's a really, really comfortable jacket. That toggle is great too. Yeah, shorter runs, definitely an option. So there you have it. That's my review of the Montane Gecko VP Plus Super Minimal Ultra Vest. So there you have it. That's my review of the Montane Gecko VP Plus. A pretty minimal ultra vest, one for shorter races. If you've got any questions about this vest, don't forget to ask them in the comments. Like and subscribe. Check out some of the other pack videos we've got. We've done the Gecko VP 20 Plus, which has a bit more capacity, and we've done the Ultra 20, so check that one out as well. There'll be more pack reviews coming on the channel soon. If we miss anything in these reviews that you'd like to know about, please let us know, because we're always looking to add in new and useful information. But in the meantime, thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon on the Run Testers.